All right, we've got an early morning, of course, main event. Overtime coming your way. If I get centered on the camera here, everything's been moved. Ethan's been doing stuff. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum, of course, from the main event show every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. WTSM TV. It is subscription based. However, if you're a basic, live, or premium subscriber, thank you very much. If you're not, you can catch us, of course, on all the podcast systems, Podbean, Apple, iHeart, all of those as well for free, like always. And, of course, we're bringing you this overtime stuff. Basically, go YouTube Live as, just another way to have some fun with you guys out there. A lot of people can get in on the chats. Don't hesitate to get in the chats. We'll see it. Of course, look, we want to get online today. We're day 2 of this divisional round in the playoffs. Here in the NFL. And, I wanted to get caught up on yesterday's game, kind of do an overview on that. Of course, we'll have more on the show tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And then we have the podcast version of the show up generally around 10:30. I do it right after the show's over, so you guys can catch it right away if you're at work or running around town and want to listen to it. It's there for you as well there. We'd like to do it as quickly as possible to get it out to you guys as we go. And, of course, this is live interactive. Get on the chat if you'd like. Let me know how you thought about yesterday's games as, we're coming up early this morning. Look, we're not used to it anymore, right? With all these playoff games coming on. 2:30 has been the start time last weekend, 2:30 yesterday. Today, 1 p.m. is the first game, of course, Buccaneers-Lions. I'm looking forward to both these games today. It's going to be exciting games. I've said it all along. Buccaneers are beating the Lions today, folks. That's my take on it. We'll get more into that coming up as well. So as you're hopping on there, the viewers, go ahead and, like I said, hit up the chat. Let me know what you thought about yesterday. I said yesterday the Packers-49ers game was the worst game out there. I told you to go do something else during that game. And once again, week number 2 with the Packers, I was wrong. What a shocker. Most people were wrong about that game. I know a couple of you out there, yesterday's, of course, overtime, a couple of you did say that you thought it'd be close till halftime. Look, torrential rain showers yesterday in the Bay Area. Debo, I said at Brock Purdy, so if there's an injury on that offense, and I pointed toward Brock Purdy, the Niners would struggle a little bit. Turns out Debo, right, got injured early in that game, and it affected it as well. Uh, 49ers squeaked by. Jordan Love had a chance to win it. Pulled the old Brett Favre and threw an interception late while he was driving down the field to win that game. And 49ers squeak out of that game yesterday. I don't know if we learned anything about the 49ers because of that rain. Debo, we're waiting, of course, for an update, but as of this morning, he's expected to play this weekend coming up in the NFC Championship game. Just something we're going to have to keep an eye on. But first, the Ravens-Texans. The cold was brutal for the Texans. They struggled in it. But most importantly, I told you guys this was a defensive battle. The defensive team to dominate would win. And the Ravens dominated on offense against that Texans defense, specifically the run game in that second half. They made the adjustments at halftime. Texans were in this game, obviously 10-10 at halftime, and then downhill for the Texans in that second half. Look, a fantastic season for the Texans. Without three of their best starters, obviously Nico Collins stepped up, C.J. Stroud stepped up for them, but obviously Tank being out, several linemen being out for them. Future is up there for the Texans, but Ravens showed why, to me, they're probably the best team in the NFL right now. Have been for the last several weeks. Quietly all season, I was telling you guys, the Ravens, dominating just quietly throughout the season. I was telling you guys that all season long. Get to the playoffs, and now they're showing what they can do. Because not only is that run game with the running backs a threat, man, Lamar Jackson, your future MVP here. Second time MVP coming up here probably in the NFL's going. And of course, Autumn checks in on the text lines. Got to rub it in. The game you were looking forward to the least was the best game. Yeah, yesterday. It was the best game yesterday. We'll see today. We'll see how it ranks there, as we go forward. I enjoyed that Ravens-Texans game, even though it ended up being a blowout, because it was fantastic watching the Ravens make the changes. In that halftime and moving forward. I just don't know if we learned anything about the Niners yesterday. We know they have a lot of talent. We know that they can, struggle on offense when they're missing big pieces. And with Debo being out, that was a big loss for them, enough to hamper that offense. Christian McCaffrey's calf was bothering him again. He kept having to get the rub down on the sideline. Brock Purdy, he's doing what he needs to do on that offense. Is that 49ers defense good enough? And then the other keys on that team, are they healthy enough to get Brock Purdy across that finish line and win a Super Bowl? I'm not too sure on that. Of course, Lions-Buccaneers coming up next week. The winner of that game coming up next week will be interesting. I would at least initially have the 49ers kind of on an upset alert to not make the Super Bowl. If I was to make a guess here today as we go forward. So, second week in a row, I said my least favorite game ends up being the best game, at least the day of. So, anytime I declare least favorite game, fade that and go the other route. I did get, for those of you that are betting guys, I did get in there, and I had, of course, Niners. I said they'd cover that 10 easily is what I said. I did get in there and get some in-game bets going, so I was able to make back that $5 loss yesterday. Of course, one with the Ravens. That one was simple with the dominating there. Buccaneers-Lions today. I'll tell you how the line has moved, if it has it all here coming up. Chiefs-Bills at well. So in terms of yesterday's game, I found interesting here. The Niners... The Packers, first of all, have a bright future as well, right? Jordan Love, I think, has ruined a lot, or at least has gotten a lot of those doubters out of the way. He's done what Green Bay quarterbacks have done repeatedly. They beat the Cowboys in the playoffs, and then they lose to the 49ers. It seems to be a trend here for Green Bay quarterbacks going forward. Look, 49ers coming back and winning this game. They don't come back. Usually the 49ers are front runners. They were able to come back in this game and get the win. Packers, though, lots of missed chances in this game. They had a chance to win it. I said at the end of the third quarter that Niners are in serious trouble in this ball game. And they definitely were. Like I said, had to come back to win it. And it took the Jordan Love interception on that final drive of the game to, seal it. It missed field goals for the Packers. A 7-point lead with 16-18 left, roughly of 16-20, 16-28, something like that. 7-point lead was what they would have got. He missed, of course, that kick. Christian McCaffrey went down and scored that touchdown, to obviously take the 24-21 lead. That's how the Packers lost. Devastating loss for the Packers when they had it to win. Of course, rain there kind of changed the elements to me on that game and make it a little bit shocking. Ethan on the YouTube chat here says, I think the Lions are going to be strong contender for the game against the Bucks. Just saying, clock turquoise looking up. So Ethan's against me on the Buccaneers winning this game today. We'll get into that coming up as well. So tell me who you guys got today. I know yesterday, a couple of you are right? Mike checked in on YouTube and said that, he thought it was going to be a close game. Ernest checked in on the chat and said it would be close in the first half, that Niners game. Turned out to be right. When we did that overtime live yesterday, I was looking at the weather, and it said that the rain was going to stop, and it just never stopped. If anything, it got worse as the game went on. Obviously changes the style of the game. And anytime you can, add another element to slow down that 49ers offense, I think, will hurt the 49ers. And I think we kind of saw that yesterday, in that game as it went on. The interesting thing is Jordan Love, right? Playoffs come along, much like Brett Favre, much like Aaron Rodgers. He'd only thrown one interception in his previous 9 games, with 21 touchdowns. And, of course, yesterday, threw the interception there when they were driving down the field for a game-tying, field goal at least, maybe a touchdown. And it just seems to be the Packers' way, right, with their quarterbacks. Interceptions while they're driving down the field is, I'm not going to say a curse, but maybe it is a curse for them going there. So quick little updates for today. Of course, Bills, Chiefs tonight. Right now, the interesting thing about this game is going into it, we don't have official reports. We probably won't have that till halfway through the first game here, kicking off at 1 o'clock, the Buccaneers and Lions. But you got to be concerned about these Buffalo Bills secondary, linebackers and secondary that are hurt with the Kansas City Chiefs. Tony, as I told you yesterday, was ruled out for this game already for the Chiefs. But you have Terrell Bernard. He's not expected to play today, but he's going to do a pregame workout to see if he is able to go. So he's still kind of a question mark. Of course, 2 cornerbacks for them, Rasul Douglas. He has a knee issue. He is optimistic he's going to play, but again, he has to do a pregame workout. Obviously, the cold there, lots of snow. The field will be in good condition in Buffalo. And then Taron Johnson. He did clear concussion protocol, which if he cleared that, he is going to probably play tonight for the Buffalo Bills. But you don't want to go into this game against the Chiefs and be without some secondary members. You're going to need them all hands on deck, as I think the Chiefs are going to do a decent amount of passing tonight against Buffalo. And I think you're going to need as many secondary members as you can possibly get there for the Bills in order to stop that Chiefs high explosive offense when they have it at times there. So it's fascinating, the games today on where you're looking at it. If you want to look at winners and losers yesterday, I kind of make my own, as I watch these games yesterday. But then I also go to NFL.com. I'll give them the free plug here. If you go to NFL.com, they do have winners and losers from Saturday's divisional games. And I'll tell you this, usually I'm pretty accurate with who they have as winners and losers. They add a few more. They go a little bit more in depth than even I do on the games. And it's kind of amazing. I think very similar to Judy Bautista is the one that did the one for today. And it's interesting how I kind of agree with their takes a lot of times, which also kind of scares me, to be honest with you. But Ethan checks in again on that chat there, YouTube chat. He says, Bills are going to lose. Last 2 minutes, they're throwing the game. Watch our red penalty card. Ethan thinks, of course, the reason why this game's in Buffalo is because Tony was offsides, right? They obviously threw the ball to Kelsey. Kelsey threw it across to Tony, went in to score in this game earlier this season, and obviously, called back due to offensive offsides. Everybody lost their minds, and now the game's in Buffalo. First time the Chiefs are going to a, opponent's stadium. I want to see how they fare in this stadium. It's going to be interesting there. I'm not going to be shocked if the Chiefs win. Of course, Chiefs are 2-0 against the Bills, 2020, 2021. They got to that point. Brian says, Ethan's going to take your job. He can have it. I'll give it to him if he wants it. I keep telling him to try to get on here with me, but of course he's playing games right now. And then today, I don't know what you guys got planned today, but then me and Ireland, as soon as we're done here, we're going to go over to the bookstore, pick her up a couple books, make it home for the 1 p.m. kickoff coming up here. And then, Ethan's going to do what Ethan does, hang out here. We're all, if you don't know, Ireland's a big Chiefs fan as well. So I told her, I said, do you want to go somewhere and watch the game, or do you want to watch it here? And she cracks me up because she said, well, the problem with going somewhere, and then she pauses, and I go, because you get mad? She goes, it is the playoffs. So we're going to, have to walk on eggshells if the Chiefs lose today. Right, Ethan? Brian also says, more time to kill zombies. Go live, Ethan. You too, Autumn. Exactly. We'll get him on the microphone. I've been working on Autumn for what, 5 years now? 6 years now? I'm going to get in trouble for that. But I've been working on her for a while. And then Ethan does some live gaming stuff and everything as well. So he's getting there as he's going. He's taking film and whatever classes there at his high school. So he's going this route a little bit there. Call of Duty has bugs right now, so I'm a little perturbed at it this morning. And I lost my tombstone. I know if you don't play it, you don't know what that is. But I had stuff staved up there that I was looking forward to doing some things later on, and I lost it. So I have to start all over again. So I'm a little annoyed with Call of Duty right now. Good thing there's football. I'll keep my minds off. But winners and losers for yesterday's games, man, Lamar Jackson to me, 0 for 2. I'm sorry, 0 for, was he 0 for 2 or 0 for 3? Well, 0 for 3 in the playoffs, 0 for 2 in the divisional games. Going into this game, of course, 1 for 3 in total postseason games for Lamar Jackson. He took that, obviously, mantle, dominated that second half. Lamar Jackson got that offense going yesterday. And I do think Lamar Jackson's a winner. He's going to get propelled back up here. Critical game situations yesterday. You saw Lamar Jackson take control of that game. They put the ball in Lamar Jackson's hands. He did it, obviously 4th and 2, gets that 15-yard roughly run, 15-yard touchdown. Then the 4th and 1 from the midfield there at the end of the third quarter. He kept it, 14-yard gain there to keep that play drive alive, which ended up in a touchdown as well. To me, the Ravens surprised me really well with the halftime adjustments yesterday. That was a rough start for that offense for the Ravens, and they were able to go out there and adjust in the second half. Look, the Texans, if you want to look at them, obviously that offense struggled. 10 points in the first half, nothing in the second half. Their special teams, though, that huge, what was that, a 70-yard roughly? It wasn't exactly 70, but it was in that time frame. Punt return. They got a 51-yard field goal in that game. I'm going off my memory for the Texans. That was their first half points. The offense struggled there, of course, for the Texans, but their special teams were winners yesterday. The Ravens rushing attack, I already hit on that. Lamar Jackson, if you take him out of it, Hill, still was dominating, right? Opened up, hit some holes. But Dalvin Cook had that one carry until what, about the third quarter, freshly picked up there for, for Baltimore from the Jets. Had the one carry, I want to say until end of the third quarter, that one carry. Ended up getting the ball a lot there in that fourth quarter. Fairly fresh legs. New York did not use him very much. He did end up with 8 carries for only 23 yards, but those were some dominant carries there in that fourth quarter. So the Ravens rushing attack brings an element to this Ravens throwing on this offense. It's going to make them very hard to defend going forward. Of course, the Ravens would have, the AFC has the hardest trek to the Super Bowl over the 49ers. No offense to Buccaneers and Lions fans out there as well. So San Francisco's defense was great, especially the first half defense was a winner in my eyes. The Packers played well on defense in that first half. Till that last drive there as well. Appreciate it, Brian. Brian says the sound is a lot louder than yesterday. Yeah, here's the funny thing, Brian. I didn't change anything. I think I might have turned off like an echo thing or something, but I didn't change anything on the sound, so I don't know what was up with that. We changed microphones yesterday, me and Ethan. We're gonna get different microphones here for the Fortress because that's where we're coming from. And we're going to get better microphones here. But we did change the microphone out, so I guess we did make that change. Hello, Mike. Mike's going to be here. Mike's probably typing right now and bragging about his 49ers pick yesterday. You're right, Brian. It could have been the recording. We'll watch it, and we'll see. It could be – there's so many factors when you do this type of thing. And that's part of why, last weekend was the testing as we did it. Obviously, this weekend getting a lot better out there. Brian does say Zombies has changed since I last played. He said, you ever play Red Dead 2? Yeah, actually, I've got the... Is it up here? I've got the CD somewhere up here. I haven't played it in a while, obviously. He goes, it is peaceful until you go near the cannibals or bears or mountain lions or the Pinkertons. Red Dead 2 is a fantastic game. I never did finish it, actually, because I got distracted by other games out there. So Ethan keeps telling me I need to start a streaming channel as well. So, it's part of the fun of gaming, right, in your free time. There. Let's see here. In terms of losers last night in this game, well, interesting enough, that NFL.com, like I said, the articles, Mike says, me? I don't brag, but I told you so. Yeah, you did. You and Ernest both chimed in and said that Niners-Packers game was going to be closer than I was giving it credit for. Like I said, once I saw that the rain wasn't subsiding, I actually put it out on Twitter around halftime, and Mike, of course, laughed at me on there on Twitter. Said, the rain? It was the rain. Yeah. Brian says, if your kid thinks you should start a channel, you must be good. I don't know how good you are. I don't know how good I am, but, we could have some fun with it. I was thinking doing like an old man and a young guy, like old man and young guy, because Ethan talks epic trash to the point where you want to just leave the room and yell at him. I was just quiet there to see if he was mumbling under his breath as he's hiding over here over my shoulder. He's got a look of disgust on his face there. But one thing that the NFL.com article that I said, I do look at that after I make my list while watching the games. They have Brock Purdy as a winner, last night. I don't agree with that at all. I mean, he did what he needed to do. Brian says, get his ass, Mike. You guys are fighting over me. Ethan said, I told him he sucks at COD because I play all the time. Yeah, I know. He does. He talks a lot of smack when he plays. It's pretty funny. But he says Brock Purdy says, I'm sorry, the NFL.com article, as I'm getting sucked into this trash talking here. Brock Purdy, they have Brock Purdy listed. Here's what they say on theirs, and I don't agree with this at all. I thought Brock Purdy did enough to win that game yesterday. Obviously, got the ball Christian McCaffrey after the Missed field goal there by Green Bay and got the winning touchdown, 24-21. And did enough to get the win, but they have him as a winner. Here's what they say: the San Francisco quarterback seemed to struggle with his grip in the rain all night, and his passes were consistently off. If you watched the game and had the sound up, Fox's cameras, they talked about it, caught him taking his right hand off the ball, while he was in his drop, right? He was having problems holding on the ball, basically trying to wipe off his hands. He went to a glove at one point during this game as well, which they said in the broadcast that he wore a glove at Iowa State as well. And then, but then, so that's why I don't put Brock Purdy as a winner. He did enough to get the win at the end, but he struggled in those elements. And I think Brock Purdy, and it's not a knock on Brock Purdy when you say this stuff, but he's the weakest link on the San Francisco offense, and he could be a downfall for them. But look, when you're the weakest link, when you have studs at offensive line, you have Debo if he's able to play, right? Christian McCaffrey if he's healthy. Ayuk is a receiver. The other receivers that they got there, it's not bad to say that you're the weakest link out there. It's just interesting to go. So I don't agree with that NFL.com article. That's why I also read it, is I like to see kind of what they say there. For my losers coming up here, obviously Houston's running game, it was non-existent yesterday with a Singletary. They needed Singletary to get some yardage early in first downs. They did not. The interesting thing for me is what was going on with San Francisco. Their clock management skills were terrible yesterday in that game. What was going on with them at the end of that first half, right? 5 minutes to go when they got the ball back? I'm going off of my memory here. I do this without any notes here today. So, what was it, 5 minutes ago or so in the game? They got the ball deep in their deal in the first half, and they didn't move the ball fast at all down the field with plenty of time to drive down the field and get some points in that ball game. When, of course, I just cheated here and looked it up. That last drive was 11 plays. They moved 45 yards. That's where they got to that Packers 30-yard line. And then, of course, the kick was blocked, I believe it was. He missed it there at the end of the half there. I get it. You probably don't want to give the Packers the ball back, but at the same time, man, go down and score a touchdown. You wasted that opportunity, and of course they had to come back to win at the end there. On the bad side or the loser side, whatever you want to call it, there obviously injuries, right? Debo being out of that game for San Francisco is huge, and it leaves him in doubt going forward. It's the same shoulder he had problems with earlier in the season, so that's not a good sign there. The other thing is that I wrote down as in terms of the bad stuff there was Houston's penalties, man. I get they were on the road. I get they were in Baltimore. But man, what'd they have? Like 6 or 8 or 7 or 8 penalties just in that first quarter. A lot of false starts in that game. I get you're on the road. The crowd there in Baltimore was huge. But obviously their offense could get no rhythm with those penalties, and that was an issue for the Texans in that game yesterday. The other thing I'd say is just the 49ers are kind of losers on that side for that rainstorm. I mean, I know they got the win there, but look, 49ers are the 1 seed. They're obviously going to play at home next week as well by winning that game. So Buccaneers or Lions are going to have to go there. But that weather done San Francisco might be interesting to see. And if they get, whether it's the Buccaneers or the Lions with those offenses, and then they can't, Brock Purdy can't throw the ball in that rain, for instance, and Debo's injured or out, Christian McCaffrey's injured and out, the high prolific offense, whether it be the Buccaneers or the Lions, could put up some points on them and kind of startle them there as the number 1 seeds on the Niners going forward. So just some thoughts on yesterday's games out there. Let's see here. Ethan says, I told him he said, that's right. He told me he sucks there. And then Mike says, Ethan is smart. He knows more you do on here, the less he has to do with you. Good job, Ethan. Thanks, Mike. I kick him off of this stuff. Like I said, I haven't set up. This is set up in our gaming room right now. So he's on the PS4 back there. We just kept our PS4 while we got the PS5 when that came out. But he's over here in a corner playing that, hiding, because I kicked him off the other setup, so I can do this here at the Fortress. We're going to do some other stuff here. We just got to move some stuff around and everything, so I don't kick him off of here. But yeah, he's already mad at me, Mike, for kicking him off to do this. So you guys have to talk to him about, of course, that stuff. So I've already given you. Brian says Detroit weather update: clear skies, high of 24. Football weather. What's it going to be inside the dome is the question there, Brian, right? Are they going to have the heat on? Are they going to heat it really high, make it sweatable conditions? Are we talking like 68, 70 degrees inside the dome there, and for the Lions, for Tampa Bay to go up there? Problem is you want it to be colder, right, for Tampa Bay. You don't want it warm in there because Tampa Bay is used to that. So I would turn the AC on or open up the outside doors, right? Have the fans sit in their jackets and everything, and have that cold air blow down on that Buccaneers bench and make them freezing a little bit, as we go forward in that game. As we play those mind games, of course. With their, of course, Ravens will have the number 1 seed. They'll be playing at home next week as well for today's Bills-Chiefs winner. As there, and Brian agrees with me. Keep the doors open, yeah, especially on the Buccaneers side, right? That air just blows through the tunnels, right up onto the bench there, and kind of freezes the Buccaneers out on that bench. That'd be hilarious to see, in today's game, to kind of play those games. So, 49ers will have a home game next week in the NFC Championship. Baltimore will have home game for them in the AFC. And now it's just a matter of who they play. Of course, today, 1 p.m. kickoff, Buccaneers. It's going to be NBC game here. You can watch it on Peacock as well, for those of you that kept their Peacock subscription. Might as well use it, right? Of course, we have it here because the WWE Network, obviously is on Peacock. You got Royal Rumble coming up. What is it, a week or two? Next week is the Royal Rumble. I knew it was coming up. So we'll be watching that coming our way. But so those of you that do have Peacock, yeah, use your subscription there. You had to pay the $6 for the month. Might as well use it. Buccaneers, Lions, 1 p.m. kickoff here. Of course, Phoenix time. Let's just get into this game, right? I'll give you the update here on the terms of the spread. Even if you don't bet it, just kind of gives you what the public, the betting public on game days, public money is what moves the over/under and is what moves the line. Early in the week, we have Lou on, Sweet Lou from VSiN and DraftKings every Thursday, and he tells you all the time early movement of the lines is based to the sharp money, meaning the professional gamblers who like or who think they have an advantage in lines early in the week. Movement on game days before kickoff is all public money there. And I can tell you this, yesterday it was a 6.5 point spread. Right now it's still a 6.5 point spread where the Detroit Lions are favored. Over under is 49.5. To be honest with you, I don't remember what it was yesterday. Wasn't it 50 yesterday? But I could be forgetting that. So we might see that line move. I mean, look, we're an hour and a half away from kickoff. I'm not sure how much we will see it move, but I will say this. I do think Tampa Bay is going to cover that 7 at a minimum, or 6.5. Worst case, to go down by 7. So I would take the Buccaneers 7 if you're going to do anything on that. I can tell you this. I took Tampa Bay so far on the money lines, plus 220. Let me see what I took, because I took them earlier in the week. Let me see real quick. Of course, these are all FanDuel numbers here. Nope, it is 220, so that line has not moved because I took that, Thursday or something. I've been confident in the Buccaneers all week. I talked about it yesterday a little bit, and of course during the show during the week where I thought it was Lions, man. Teammates were crying. Coach was crying. Fans were crying. A big emotional win. I worry about the letdown, and they won by 1 against the Rams with all that crowd emotion. They credited the crowd for getting them over the top last week against the Rams and getting that win. That worries me against a good offensive team, an underrated offensive team in the Buccaneers, and a good defensive team as well. I am worried about Detroit Lions being able to pull this game off with that environment. 2 weeks in a row, emotional letdown. I could see this being a problem, and that's why I like the Buccaneers today. Going to the game, no major injuries. Jared Goff's going to play well, I believe. I think Baker Mayfield's going to play fairly well. To me, this game comes down to the running game with Borda obviously as a tight end. Passing it to him will be an option. I do like the Detroit running game today as well with Gibbs out there kind of being the main guy. But I think this comes down to the Tampa Bay defense. If they're going to be able to shut down that Detroit Lions offense, I do think this is kind of an under game. A 49.5 spread or 50 spread to me seems a little bit high. I think this might be an under game going into this, and as part of that is just the emotion on the Lions. I think this is just two teams that are in this game. Both, Buccaneers obviously have won Super Bowls, but not this specific team. And I think Baker Mayfield is kind of the guy that get the Buccaneers over the top on the Lions today. Brian says if the Ravens play on Saturday, it's a 40% chance of rain, but it's projected to be 56. I believe no more Saturday games. I believe both the AFC and the NFC Championship are both going to be played on Sunday. They traditionally are. So I haven't checked it. I'm not going to lie to you. But I believe both games will be on Sunday next week. So, but that weather's not going to change that much. Maybe rain. Maybe there won't be rain on Sunday compared to Saturday, and then it'll be whether whether it's a night game or a day game up there in Buffalo with that weather, obviously. Because San Francisco, to me, it doesn't matter. Yes, it gets chilly there, but any Buccaneers or Lions aren't going to be afraid of 60 degrees and rainy temperatures when they get to San Francisco. So to me, that Baltimore game's the bigger question mark, day or nighttime going forward. Brian also says Tampa will not cover. He goes, lunch bet. You're only down 2 lunches. Yeah, I know. I got to get down to Tucson, man, and get you those covered. Actually, nothing's announced yet on the show or on the station. Obviously, they announced Sugar Skulls and Rattler stuff, and you saw one name that was absent from that. Got some other stuff going on with that stuff that I'm going to maybe be doing. Nothing's official yet, so I will be down in Tucson if it goes through. If it's something I want to do, if it's something that they can put together, if it's something that I want to do, I will be down in Tucson for some Sugar Skulls games this year. And if it does work out, it's going to be exciting. And I'm looking forward to working down there. I'll be doing both Rattlers and Sugar Skulls stuff this year, as opposed to last year just doing the Sugar Skulls pregame. But anyway, a long story to say, if everything goes as it's trending right now, I'll be down in Tucson a little bit more, Brian. So, yeah. I'll take you up on that because Tampa's winning this game, Brian. We'll do another lunch here. We might have to do one very expensive lunch to cover that up there. Ethan says Tampa's going to show out by losing. Womp, womp. A lot of Detroit Lions fans out there today. I don't know, man. I'm not going to be shocked if the Lions win. No, not at all. Lions are a good team. Quite frankly, the Lions should win this game. I'm worried about the emotion. I'm worried about that one playoff win. It's almost like they're taking like a deep breath and going, "Oh, we finally won a home playoff game." Those emotional wins are big. That's kind of what I'm banking on. I could be completely wrong. Lions could dominate as we go forward on that. Yeah, Brian, I also see your tags on the thing for that thing. That is a hilarious ad there that you sent me. We'll definitely be showing that on the show coming up as well because that's hilarious. Mike says, I want Tampa Bay to win. Hopefully, Baker, of course, Mike being a big Oklahoma Sooners fan. He missed out on Mark Andrews. I watched the clip today on Baker when he, did all that stuff against Kansas when Kansas wouldn't shake his hands and everything. I watched a clip this morning on Baker, and of course the game-winning touchdown. Well, not the game-winning because it was like a 40-3 blowout, but one of the first touchdowns that Baker did before he did the stuff to the crowd that he got in trouble for. Was to Mark Andrews, actually. So maybe Baltimore gets him back. I think Baltimore does get him back next week. So, but it was interesting that Baker and then Mark Andrews in that game. It's kind of funny there. Mike also says Baker, the not so many touchdown maker won't show up. If he does, well, they win. Sad, but he is the weakest link. Yes, 100% agree with that. This game is going to be won or lost on Baker Mayfield. I do think he's going to show up, though. He's got nothing to play for, man. He's in a comfortable place. Tampa Bay wants him back. He's not fighting for his job at this point. Quite frankly, they're not expected to win. 6.5-point dogs. The Lions are the favorites. And I think Baker's going to do what Baker's done all year quietly, and that's show up in this game, Mike. So we'll see. We'll see. Look, if Baker doesn't show up, this is going to be a blowout. Lions are going to lose in a blowout or win in a blowout. So Baker has to show up. But also, I have positive things about the Buccaneers defense, more so than a lot of other people do. And I think they could shut down that Lions offense and keep this a low-scoring affair. And I'll take Baker either coming back or securing a lead moving forward over Jared Goff and those guys. So, yeah, and then Autumn says, I'm keeping track of the lunches he owes you, Brian. Of course, Brian says thank you. So, yes, yeah. No, I don't scourge on a bet. You know, I owe Boogie from the radio station Golf. We tried to hook up a couple times earlier this year, and he's busy. He's doing some other stuff, and he was busy. I've talked to him. I should send him a message again. We don't forget this stuff, man. I'm good for all of it and everything. So as we move forward, other game today, of course. So I have Buccaneers. So you guys all have the Lions, obviously. Also in the show picks, I have the Buccaneers as well in that one. So we'll see how this turns out, and I'm just looking forward to an exciting game coming up. And then Chiefs-Bills, of course. I've already given you a little worried about the Bills cornerbacks and linebacker situation going to this game because I do expect the Chiefs to throw the football a little bit more, even though Tony is out in this game. I think they need to do it. I think Pacheco, I think the Bills will be able to stop Pacheco in that running game. They're going to have to flare it out and get the running game going after the passing game today. Folks, you have no idea how Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense is going to fare on the road in a playoff game because we've never seen it before. It's the first time they're on the road. They're in Buffalo. I'm not worried about the weather in this game. I'm not worried about the wind. They both play in these conditions. I think it's going to be a non-factor. But then you have a question mark. Can the Bills overcome? You know, they lose to the Chiefs a lot. I think they beat them once in the regular season. The Chiefs have won 2 in the regular season. I don't have the exact stat. And then the Bills have lost both times in the playoffs in fantastic fashion, right? Of course, that overtime game where you're not – remember that game when you're not allowed to taunt the other team with deuces and fingers? And then Tyreek Hill ran down the sideline giving deuces to the Bills, and the refs decided not to throw a flag at that moment. Mm-hmm. By the way, the Bills and the Chiefs, 2 fan bases that love to blame the officials and point out all the holding calls that aren't called, all the other calls that aren't called. So stay off Twitter and the socials today if you're a Bills or Chiefs, even if you're not a fan of either one of them, because it's going to be a constant complaint fest from people during this game. It's going to be amazing. Amazing to watch the fan base freak out because a holding penalty here wasn't called or a holding penalty there wasn't called. Mike says, "Hey Autumn, nice to see you here. I'd ask how you're doing, but really, how well could you be doing with Steven around?" He's kidding, of course. He says, but yeah, she threatened to come over later, Mike, and watch some football with us here. You know, Brian says, "Dang, Mike." She threatened to come over, and she's had family in town. So yesterday she didn't get to watch any games, but she threatened to come over and watch this Chiefs-Bills game later on this afternoon. We'll see if that happens because, like I said, Ireland can get a little crazy there, right, Ethan? Especially if they lose. So it's going to be kind of fun tonight. Brian also says, I think those Bills-Chiefs win-losses is correct. The one I gave about 1 and 2, I thought it was. And I know it's 0 for 2 in the playoffs because that was 2020 and 2021. Brian says, threatening you with a good time. I got some steaks. Brian made pizza last night down in Tucson, homemade pizza. I did burgers, corn, and mac and cheese. Today I've got some steaks here. We might grill up later on. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Or we just might be all in separate bedrooms after the Chiefs game today if they don't pull this out. We'll see. Avoiding everybody. We'll see how this goes around here. But Chiefs, Bills today, man. This is an exciting game. Obviously, the game. I hope it lives up to the hype that it has lived up to the last several years. Here's some things just really quick. I know, gosh, I'm already at 47 minutes. I know I kept the live going for about 5 minutes, or the intro, just to alert people. Some people told me that, to do that before I start talking. I meant to go on earlier, but we were messing around with a new microphone and stuff. But appreciate you guys all joining us regardless, and those of you catching this afterwards. But things, of course, like I said, Lions, Buccaneers, I kind of already covered that. But one thing that I'm going to tell you guys, I'm looking for tonight, the Bucs, I think are going to hold the Lions to under 20 points, which means at that point, I think the Buccaneers do win. If the Lions get 21 or higher points in this game, the Buccaneers will not keep up with them. Something to watch for in my eyes. Going into this. And they got to shut that crowd up early if you're Buccaneers, right? Here's an interesting thing. The Buccaneers defense has blitzed on 41% of dropbacks by opposing quarterbacks. That's the third highest rate in the NFL. The Lions are going to have to deal with a blitzing defense there for the Buccaneers. And they could dial it up even more, right? Todd Bowles, obviously being an offensive coach, they want to get to Jared Goff. They want Goff to be pressured, and they want Goff to make mistakes today. Gotts has had 7 turnovers when blitzed this season. It's tied for the second most in the NFL. So watch out for that Buccaneers rush defense today coming up as well. For the Buccaneers. That's going to be a game changer. It's going to come down to Baker and that Bucs defense for them to be able to get this win and shutting that crowd up early, man. Get out there and dominate that. Of course, interesting nugget. I did some looking into on officiating today. In that game, the referee that's doing that game, the Buccaneers Lions game. Excuse me, I have my eyes. Got something in my eye here. He's averaging 13.4 flags per game, which is tied for 7th fewest in the NFL. And when these guys met in the regular season, the Buccaneers and the Lions, I believe they had 10 flags total, 5 each. It's something in that range. I could be off by a couple. So forgive me there. Don't quote me for the exact number, but it was a low flagged affair. And then this head referee here, averages 13.4 flags per game. So watch for penalties as well, because as we saw in the Texans game yesterday and Ravens, the Texans flags, especially in that first quarter, kept their offense from getting into rhythm, and it showed later on in the game as well. In terms of Chiefs and the Bills, what I'm going to watch for here, quite frankly, is just it's two separate things, and it's because obviously it's Josh Allen. These turnovers and interceptions in the end zone need to stop for this game. You cannot do that against the Chiefs and expect to win the game. Period. End of story. You can make those mistakes against other teams, but that's against the Chiefs, you just can't do it. You need to get touchdowns to beat the Chiefs today. And then the other side of it is Patrick Mahomes on the road in a playoff game. How's he going to react to this, right? How is he going to react to not having things in his favor at the home stadium? He hasn't experienced this before in a playoff game. I don't expect him to do badly, but it's something that I am going to pay attention to going into this. So I actually found my notes on the actual stat. It's 3 of 4 regular seating meetings. The Bills have won 3 out of the 4 regular seating meetings. I can't talk all of a sudden. 3 of the 4 regular season meetings between these guys, the Bills have actually won. And then the Chiefs, of course, got both postseason victories there as well. So I was a little off on the regular season there. And the difference in these games has been defensive success. And I think the Bills at home are going to have the crowd behind them. And it's going to have to go. So Josh Allen's going to have to play a non-turnover game and stop turning the ball over when they're about to score touchdowns. And the Bills defense needs to stop this Chiefs passing game. Those are the 2 things I'm looking for going into this game as well. So this game, however, to me is going to be a high-scoring affair in this game. I believe the line has moved in this game. Let me just look it up and kind of just give you an idea what the public is thinking here in this game. Nope, it's actually still 2.5 points. Buffalo is favored in this game at home. It's going to be a close affair. I think over under 45.5. To be honest with you, I think that's low. I think this is going to be a high scoring affair today, like we see in these playoff matchups behind these guys. So I would favor a high scoring affair today here in Buffalo today between the Chiefs and them, with both teams. Kind of a shootout type mode is what I'm looking for, unless the Bills defense is able to stop the Chiefs, because that is a difference in the game. Shootout affair to me, be honest with you, favors the Chiefs late in the game as well over the Bills. So the Bills defense at some point is going to have to stop that Chiefs offense to get this victory today. Interesting stat here, regular season. Bills have held the Chiefs to 20.8 points per game. Produced 9 takeaways there. So regular season, they've had success. In the playoffs, though, Kansas City's averaged 40 points and had only 1 turnover. That's what I'm telling you guys. The Bills' defense is the key to this game today. If they're able to, even if it's a shootout at some point, the Bills' defense is the defense that's going to have to stop stop the Chiefs in order to get this victory. If they can't do it, if they can't get a turnover, if they can't stop them from scoring late in this game, the Bills will lose this game and the Chiefs will win it. So that's how I see this game going. Something to watch here as well. And like I said, those Bills secondary injuries that we already talked about, I don't expect all 3 guys to play. If you get 2 of the 3 back, that's going to help. But obviously, you need that secondary moving forward there. So, turnovers today, as I said, Josh Allen turns the ball over, they're going to lose. Mahomes turns the ball over, they're going to lose. Simple there as well. Interesting enough, this is something you have to worry about, right? Officiating. This is the game I was reading earlier this week. Sean Hockley is refereeing this game, and that is worrisome if you're a fan of either one of these teams, because does he like to be on camera. He threw an NFL high 14 flags for roughing the passer. Who's going to get favored in that? You know they don't call it even on both teams. That mean Mahomes is going to get protected more than Josh Allen? Does that mean Josh Allen's going to be protected more than Mahomes? Refereeing in this game, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, I expect it to be a problem. I expect it to be an issue for one of these teams. It will not be called fairly. And I made that comment earlier that Bills and Chiefs fans think the referees are against them at all the time. And today they might have an argument, but it's not going to come down and end the game. It's just going to be one of those games where the officials are going to be a problem in this game. So get used to seeing Sean Hockley on your television screen wherever you watch that. With the roughing the passer penalty, it's 5 more than the next closest referee in case you're counting at home. And then it's even higher going down the chain here, obviously. Go. So keep an eye on the officiating today. Be prepared for some bad calls in this game where the referees are going to go. Now the question is, are they going to be bad on both sides, or are they going to favor one or the other? That is going to also make a difference coming up in this ball game. So let's get cut up here real quick on the chat line. I appreciate you guys sticking with us, man. We're going an hour here. And like I said, we go until we're done having fun. That's kind of how I feel about the games today. I wanted to get you updated on the weather, the stadium, injury reports, things like that. Because obviously on the show on Friday, limited information, a couple days out there. So, I like this. This is fun. This is fun, man. I enjoy this a lot. Don't forget on the show, we have the text line. I do not have the text line up and running for this. I probably should. But why? When we have the YouTube chat, we are going to go to other formats coming up. We got Facebook Live we're going to go to. I'm working on getting software for going live on X as well, Twitter, coming up, as well as Twitch and things like that. So just letting you guys know we're going to kind of spread this out and get some interactions here moving forward. And I know we did it earlier today, but that's because of the early kickoffs. I'm going to try to, me and Izzy, Izzy had the idea of going live after Suns games. That's kind of late, right? A 7 p.m. kickoff or tip-off, gets over 9:30, 10, which I'm kind of floating with the idea of, hey, man, let's do a pregame show of the Suns and hit that stuff. So we'll be doing some of that as well. So let's get caught up on this. You hear my hold music there as we get through all this. I got to find out where I last read the dealer. Mike says, we have an ice storm coming in this evening. Of course, Mike's in Oklahoma. I'm staying home to watch the game alone. No watch party for me. Well, the watch party is me, Ethan, Ireland, because they're with me this weekend, and of course Autumn comes over. She'll it's rainy here, Mike, today. It's supposed to rain all day actually. So yeah, kind of a booing day here as well. So Brian says, LOL, Ethan in the background. Yeah, if the camera would move, you'd see him. He's literally right here, off to the side behind a monitor on the side of the desk that we're sitting at here. And then Ethan says, it's going to be a quiet house after the Chiefs game, maybe, or we can hear Ireland yelling all night. Big Chiefs fan she is. Ethan says, WWE news, Seth Rollins versus Punk is still planned after Seth tore his ACL. Is he not having surgery? No, look at that. A little WWE news for you guys. I think it was, Brian, it was you asking about that tag team match. I forgot to respond to that. I'll respond to that coming up. Because, yeah, that was an interesting match there on Friday night. It's that pre Royal Rumble stuff, right? Where they do all that weird hype up stuff to get you all interested in the matches before the Royal Rumble comes our way, is what you were witnessing on Friday night, by the way. So Mike says, KC always plays their best football in the playoffs. Hopefully that ends today. Go Bills. Yeah, but because they're always at home. What are they going to do on the road? You know, regular season on the road is hard enough. Playoff steps it up a notch, especially in this hated rivalry of the Bills and Chiefs. So that's one thing I'm really interested in seeing, is just, will Kansas City hold up in this road environment today? I'm fascinated by that concept coming our way. Ethan says Sam Laporta, of course, for the Lions is officially active for today's game as well. You played last week and had a good game last week, so he's playing through the injuries that he has there. Brian says Sean has to make up for his lack of guns. Hit the gym, Slim. All right, I'll go to the gym, man. Oh, you said Sean, not me. Okay, jeez. Brian says, pregame of the Suns over postgame. I will not be awake. Well, that's the problem, Brian. Either will I. I rarely make it to an end of a Suns game before I'm passed out on my bed when I'm watching it. So I think I've said that on the show a few times. So I'm with you on that. I like the pregame, though. Set the stage of the game. So I'll work with Izzy on that this week. Of course, he's going to be at the Pacers-Suns game tonight. Tomorrow night, his Chicago Bulls are in town against the Suns on a back-to-back. So he'll be at both of those games. Maybe I'll talk to him tomorrow and see if he's available. As I said, we're about to go through a move here at the studio to another place, and so we're kind of up and down with what we got around the studio right now and who's available, and everybody's kind of busy dealing with all that. So it might be a week or two before we get that rolling as we keep going here. So look, guys, 1 p.m. kickoff, an hour from now. Ethan says St. Brown made his hair blue. Hasn't it been blue for a couple weeks? It might have been, of course. Look, he's got to have a great game for the Lions here coming up. But me and Ireland got to get to the bookstore. I promised her I'd take her to the bookstore today and get her some books for the 1 p.m. kickoff. Chiefs coming up at 4:30 today. Chiefs and Bills. It's going to be an exciting day on football, man. You guys all joined us, showed up. I appreciate that. Those of you that shared the links, thank you as well. Brian says, sure, watching in bed, not the hallway TV or toilet TV. We still have that TV in the hallway. I did look at it yesterday walking down the hallway. So we should probably do something with that, Ethan, moving forward. But no, you don't watch the Suns game in the toilet TV because you don't want to fall asleep on the toilet. Then you end up like Elvis. Google how Elvis died if you want, as we see Ethan's hand in the background there. So, guys, appreciate it, man. We went an hour today, which is exciting, man, and covered it all. Everybody enjoy the football games. If anything big happens, any big referee calls that make the Chiefs-Bills lose the game tonight, we'll throw it up live. I'll throw it up on Twitter and Facebook. So make sure you're following us at TME Sports Show, or you're subscribed to the YouTube page, folks. I do not do this for the subscriptions. I don't do it for any money reasons, anything like that. I'm doing it just because it's fun for me. I like it. I know you guys like following me as well and listening and interacting as well. But mainly it's nice to do this and have some fun with it. So, guys, get on there and Ethan says Cody's going to talk to Punk tomorrow night. So Ethan's watching the pregame right now, following WWE news as well. Of course, Brian says thanks for doing this. I enjoyed and appreciate your insights. Get the book. Hell is a World Without You. Very good. Well, that sounds like a sad book, Brian. I'm not buying any books today. I got a couple from Christmas I got to delve into. I don't like having books that I can't get to for a while. And Ireland reads so fast that she gets a book and it's like it's gone quickly. Oh, he says, no, it's not sad. All right, I'll write it down. I'll check it out, Brian, as well. So, all right, guys, appreciate it. Everybody, enjoy the kickoff. 1 p.m. Don't forget, it's earlier today, 4:30 p.m. Our time is, of course, the Chiefs and Bills. I got Buccaneers, folks. Go Buccaneers. I could be completely wrong, and you guys can make fun of me later on as well. Don't forget, main event tomorrow, 8 to 10. If you don't subscribe, no problem. Catch the podcast, Podbean. If you I know some people will listen to the podcast because that's how they have to listen at work. And then they go back and watch it for the videos and all of that stuff. However you guys do it, I appreciate you very much. So, guys, appreciate this. We'll see you. Anything big happens today and we got to throw it live, we'll post it at TME Sports Show. Hopefully, Sean Hockley and his crew in that second game keep the flags in their pockets, and we don't have a controversial ending to this game. Everybody keep your fingers crossed for that. I think we can all agree we don't want referees deciding this stuff today. Keep your fingers crossed, everybody. Enjoy the kickoff. See y'all soon.